Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be a champion guide for Gala Longbraids. So let's get into it. Alrighty, let's dive into the index here, and we're gonna go down to dwarves. Gala Longbraids is the epic void affinity on the far right, and that is her. So as always with my champion guides, down in the video description I will have a link to the Gala infographic here that shows all of the general information, the grades, the masteries that I'm using on the champion that you see in this video, that she takes 11 books and all that good stuff, the optimal sets, and everything that you can pull up if you want to take a look at the infographic on your own time. But let's put that away and dive into Gala Longbraids here. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is look at the base stats. Now, for an epic champion, the first thing that jumps off the board is pretty decent HP, but horrible base defense. So you don't want to use like a defense percent chest or gloves or anything on her because her base defense is horridly low. If you do want to go the tanky route in terms of percentage stats, you probably want to go the HP percent route, and we'll get into more of that stuff when we talk about gearing her, but that is the first thing that jumps off the board at base stats. 97 is all right, is decent speed for an epic champion, and she does get a 60 of base resist, which is really cool. And the base accuracy of 0 doesn't mean anything because she does not place any debuffs, so you don't have to worry about getting any accuracy on her, and that does come in handy when you're talking about what banner to use and building her in terms of what gear sets to use and all of that. But base attack and base HP are pretty good for an epic champion, especially a damage dealer. That's a decent HP there, and that's only fair because her base defense is so low. But in terms of the A1, we've got attack one enemy 2 times. Each hit ignores 30% of the target's defense. Places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns. The value of the shield is equal to 20% of damage inflicted. So she will constantly be placing shields on herself with the A1, which is very cool. It's a good source of self-sustain, and the shield synergizes with the rest of her kit. So as we get into the A2, we've got attack one enemy, ignore 50% of target's defense when attacking under a shield buff. That's big. So ignoring 50% defense is very good. So you're gonna want to make sure you have a shield buff on her. She does place her own with the A1, but in the arena, you're either gonna want her to be in a divine set or work with somebody who has a shield set on them so that her first turn, she doesn't have to use her A1 first, because you really want her using her A3 first and then going into the A2, but we'll get into that. Anyway, heals the champion by 50% of damage inflicted and places another shield buff on this champion equal to any surplus heal for 3 turns. 3-turn buffs are very good. It means they're almost permanent. And then the sheer swagger A3 is attack one enemy 3 times. Each hit ignores 25% of the target's defense and grants an extra turn if the champion has full HP after using this skill. This means she can be very good in the arena and really snowball. A 3-hitter that ignores defense, if you've got her geared right, you can basically pick who you want to kill. And she can also snipe Rotos because she has a multi-hitter, which is very important. She's void affinity. She'll never hit people weak. And if you build a team properly with shield sets and making sure she's ready to go and take advantage of everything, like maybe even being in a lifesteal set to make sure she's always at full HP, getting this extra turn is a really important effect, especially in the arena, because then you can dive right into the A2 and ignore 50% of the target's defense if you're under a shield buff, and getting all these things to kind of line up, and she has the self-sustain even if you are not. So Gala, a lot going on there in terms of things to synergize, but if you can get everything lined up properly, she can be a very impactful champion in multiple different areas of the game. She does have an ally attack in all battles of 25%, which is all right. It's not an amazing aura, but at least she has one. It's better than nothing. So now let's go ahead and pull up my Gala Longbraids, and we will talk about the gearing process, booking process, masteries, and all of that good stuff. So here is my Gala, and one thing to note when you're gearing Gala is the divine sets are going to be very good on her. Divine speed, divine offense, because those place inherent shields for 2 turns for dungeons, faction wars, and most importantly in the arena. If you're going to be using her in the arena, divine speed, great set. Divine offense, going to be good for her. And then keeping her in a lifesteal set so she's always at full HP means that's going to synergize with the A3 in terms of granting an extra turn if she's at full HP after using this skill. So yeah, divine sets, lifesteal, all that sort of stuff, very good on her, and you don't need to get any accuracy, and she's got a really good base resist of 60, so that's very cool. So in terms of banner, you've got a lot of leeway. You can, I think flat defense is very good on her because especially if you're going to use lifesteal pairs very well with high defense. A defense banner is a great choice because her base defense is so low that you may want to go flat defense on the ring and the banner. But if you're building her as a glass cannon, like going first in the arena or something, totally understandable to either go attack or resistance. Basically, any banner can be viable on her as long as it has a good blend of attack, speed, and a little bit of flat defense on there. Never hurts with Gala. And then for the amulet, you're probably going to want to go crit damage with some resistance and some defense and some HP. She doesn't need any accuracy. This one's a pretty good amulet for her because it's got the crit, the resistance, some defense, and some HP. And then for the ring, you're probably going to go either flat attack or flat defense for the main stat of the ring, and then just your best blend of attack, HP, and defense, and all of that for the ring. And then for the boots, again, she is a champion that I guess you could put attack percent boots on in terms of dungeons and faction wars and make her hit just ridiculously hard when she's ignoring all the defense. She's not a debuffer, so she doesn't need insane speed, but if you're going to want to use her in the arena, you're probably going to need speed boots on her. And she's going to need to get to 100% crit threshold, so you want to get her to the 15 plus at least 85. You can see I got mine at 15 plus 88. The chest is typically going to be attack percentage. Do not use a defense percent chest. You're going to get very minimal utility out of it because of her horribly low defense of 661 for the base. We're going to want crit rate gloves or crit damage depending on how good of gloves you have and how much crit rate you can get for substats on your gear. You're going to have to kind of synergize that. Now for mine, I do go crit rate. Her gear is not godly. Her gear is okay. I'm going to be using Gala mainly to help me clear faction wars and 3-star the dwarf faction war part of the campaign on that map. But so that's the context I'm going to be building her, and that's why I went speed and lifesteal on her. If I was using her in the arena, I would probably go like divine speed or divine offense, try to get crit damage gloves, and then get a lot of crit rate on my other gear, go with speed boots, attack percent, and then I would probably glass cannon out on the banner and go for an attack banner, crit damage amulet, and then either attack for a attack or defense for the ring. But just to show you the top ones, they're pretty similar, not a whole lot to cover. I'll show you mine just in case you're curious. You're going for your best blend of speed, attack, and toughness, and a little bit of resistance never hurts on her as well because she doesn't need any accuracy, so you can go ahead and slide in a little bit of resistance. And then if we move over to the booking process, you're probably gonna want to go ahead and scoop up both the A2 and the A3. She takes 11 books to max out fully. If you can save books on the A1, you can probably go ahead. Like if you max out the A2 and the A3 and this is at level 3 or something, you can go ahead and save the 1 book or something because it's not a 10% or something significant here for the last book. If the last one was 10%, I would say don't worry about it and just max it out no matter what. But Gala is a very generally useful champion, especially if you're a mid-game player, early game player. You can use her in a lot of different areas of the game, so you don't have to feel bad about using books on her. She is a void champion, and you will definitely at least use her in faction wars. She'll always be viable there, so nothing wrong with using books on Gala, but the A1 is not super impactful. So if you get lucky and max out the A2 and the A3, you can go ahead and save a book or 2 on the A1. Then for the Masteries, I think this is going to be a pretty generally useful Mastery setup for her. She doesn't get a whole lot out of the support tree, so you're probably going to want to go offense and defense for her. You can make a case for really 3 different Masteries as the tier 6 choice: War Master, Helm Smasher, or crit damage even. Giant Slayer probably not going to be a great option for her, but I went with War Master because I'm building her for faction wars mainly to take down the boss, so I want those War Master procs. If you're building her for the arena, you can probably go with Helm Smasher or crit damage. They're both going to be great choices. If your crit damage is kind of low, like mine is currently with this build, I would probably want to slide over and get I would take this one, and then I would take the crit damage probably. If your crit damage is huge, like something over 200, you can go ahead and go with Helm Smasher. That'll be totally viable. There's really a lot of different ways you can go with the tier 6 mastery there. So go ahead and pick the one that best suits your needs. And I do realize my camera's kind of covering it up. I'll pop that off here for a second so you can see what I was talking about. But yeah, hopefully that made sense with me walking through there and didn't confuse you too much. But now let's dive out and I'll show you her in action with the gear that I have on her right now. She's totally viable as a campaign farmer, but you're probably going to be using a rare champion. If you're a new player and you have like Kale or something, Kale's probably going to do a better job at farming the campaign. Gala doesn't have any AoE, so she can snowball and get extra turns. She can self-sustain. She can self-shield. She's got lots of utility, but she doesn't have any AoE. She's only a single target champion, so you're never going to see her hitting multiple enemies or doing any sort of speed farming scenario like that, but she's totally viable as a campaign farmer. You can get her to be a sub 30-second, which for a new player is a good thing. So I guess if Gala was one of your first champions summoned and you were really struggling to keep like a campaign farmer alive, then you might use her, but 99% of the time you're going to be using Gala for dungeons, faction wars, clan boss, and not really in the campaign, but at least you got to see her in action there. And I do want to show you this clip of using her in the arena and how it all works. So you've got the shield set on her, you're ready to rock, and you're going to want to use that A3 first to basically snipe a target, and then she will take an extra turn, remember, if she has the full HP at the end of that turn. So I'll pull that up, and you'll be able to see here. This is an arena fight, so you've got the A3, and Rodos is a priority target. So I'm going to run up and snipe the Rodos, make sure I kill him with Gala's A3. And then I come back and I get that extra turn because I was at full HP. And now I can use the A2, which is going to ignore defense. You can prioritize another target after that. You'll hit someone like the Martyr, someone with high defense, and ignore that defense. And really do a lot of things in terms of snowballing with Gala in the arena. So now let's dive into grading her, and then I will show you her in action in her best dungeon, in my opinion. So let's dive into the reviews. They recommend offense, crit rate. All right. But okay, Gala's going to be a lot of 3s and 4s. She's not really going to be like S tier meta anywhere, and she's not going to really be like garbage anywhere except for maybe the spider, because she really has no AoE capabilities. She's not going to debuff the spider or really bring any utility there, but everywhere else she's basically a 3 or a 4. So arena offense, again, you can use her as a sniper. She's void. She won't ever hit weak, so she's fine. She's not going to be a good arena defense character. We'll give her a 2. Campaign, she's not great. We'll give her a 3. For Fire Knight, I think this is her best dungeon. She is void. She'll work on all the affinities. She's self-sustaining. She's got a multi-hit A1. She can snowball, help you through those waves. She's like a 4.5. You can give her a 4 or a 5. I'll go 4. I can't quite go 5 on her. Dragon, again, she's fine. A little bit worse than the Fire Knight. I wish this was a 10 scale, so I could be a little bit more accurate. But yeah, she's fine in the Dragon. Spider, you're not going to want to use her there. She's a 1. If you're using her in the spider, you need to reevaluate your champions and level someone else up. For clan boss, no, you're not going to want to use her there. Minotaur, she's fine. Like a 4.5 or something. But she's a 5. Because these stage 15s, the ones that max out at stage 15, it's a lot easier to be viable for the end game. Ice Golem, 4. Void Keep, yeah, she's fine. She can be a decent damage dealer there. Force Keep, she ignores defense actually, so Force Keep, very, very viable there. She's definitely a 5 in the Force Keep. A Force Keep and Fire Knight are probably her 2 best dungeons. Magic Keep, 4. Spirit Keep, 4. Just kind of a damage dealer there, but no mechanic that really helps you with the dungeon. Faction Wars, 5. She's very good in Faction Wars. I would say Faction Wars, Fire Knight, Force Keep are really the 3 areas that she shines, and then she's pretty usable in the early to mid game for the arena as well. So let's fire those off, and then let's kind of put a bow on this and have a discussion about Gala as I show you her in her best dungeon, in my opinion, which is going to be the Fire Knight. So I slotted her in here on kind of an end game type Fire Knight team that I have, and I'll show you the run and let you kind of see her rotation and see her in action and see how all of her skills shake out, and then we'll take a look at the numbers here at the end. But yeah, just to wrap up, is Gala worth maxing? Should you spend the books on her? And all of that. I think for an early to mid game player, she's definitely worth it. She's a self-sustaining damage dealer who fills kind of a cool role in terms of being a high damage single target champion. A lot of champions in the game who are damage dealers are not really self-sustaining inherently. You have to really put them in a lifesteal set, but her placing that shield on her, that really helps. Shields are very good in raid, so that is kind of cool. The fact that she has no AoE utility at all is a little bit of a burden, and it's tough to make her S tier anywhere without any AoE. But yeah, she can be a damage carry for any early to mid game player. I think when you get to the end game, she's gonna fall off in most areas of the game, especially a lot of those stage 20 dungeons like the golem and stuff. It can be tough to get value out of her if you've summoned better champions that are more viable in that spot than Gala. But yeah, she's a fine. There's definitely a lot of epics worse than her, and I think in terms of where she would rank, probably she's definitely an above average epic. I would say she's even shading towards the good side of an epic because she's very viable in almost every stage of the game for an early to mid game player, and then she'll probably phase out once you get to the end game and you maybe have some legendaries or some more top tier epics or something. But yeah, totally usable, and we'll stick around and kind of see how the numbers shake out. And spending 11 books on her, that's kind of right in the middle. It's not on the high end, it's not on the low end. Most of your epic champions are going to be somewhere between like 7 and 15, so taking 11 books is pretty par for the course. And you'll see when the numbers come up here at the end, she does crank out some fine damage, and I didn't put like insane gear on her. The gear's pretty good, and but it's not like unattainable. But remember, you want to use like the divine sets if you can, especially if you're going to use her in the arena, and keep that shield up on her, or maybe use her with somebody who has a shield set. In the video or the clip that I showed you of the arena, I had Saris in a shield set, and that gave it to Gala Longbraids, so I didn't have to put a shield set on Gala or anything. I didn't have to use any divine gear, divine speed. Bumped my mic there for a second, but yeah, divine sets, I don't know where it cut me off there, but yeah, divine sets very good on her because it places the shield for her, and you don't have to. You can see the massive shield she has on herself right there. That's very handy for a mid-game player that might not have awesome supports or anything. So I think Gala is a fairly well-designed champion. She fills a cool role, and she's not like S god tier, but she's also not garbage or unusable or anything. So I like her as a champion, and you're not going to go wrong 6-starring her or maxing her, because at the end of the day, you'll get a ton of value out of her in the Dwarf faction wars, if nothing less. So you can see here the numbers. She was actually the leading damage dealer, and I have, Cold Heart, Draco, some good champions here. So she's totally fine in terms of cranking out damage in most areas of the game, but I do think the Fire Knight is probably the best of the dungeons. Fire Knight and Force Keep are going to be where she is totally best for like the dungeons of the game, and then is also amazing in faction wars. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this video, and let me know what you think of Gala down in the comments. And remember, as always, I do have the infographic down there if you want to pull that up and see everything in one nice little source that you can look at on your own time. So yeah, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.